let me ask a few of you this, and I want you to guys engage in the chat as well. Um, let me ask Mike Hill, then Jordan Hill. Okay. Mike, in life, it comes down to one word answer. In life, it all comes down to
Clarity.
Jordan. In life, it all comes down to
Purpose.
Belinda. In life, it all comes down to
I don't have a word.
give me something, whatever comes to your mind.
Faith.
You're wrong. You said faith? Beautiful. Lisa, in life, it all comes down to
My why.
Sharon, last one. In life, it all comes down to
Fun.
there we go. For me, it's, my word is choices. In life, it all comes down to choices, and there is no right or wrong answer. But it's important for all of us to understand what's important to us and what is our purpose and what does fun mean? What does faith mean? Where is it that we're going and why are we going there? And it's important to really understand that, because we all have this 100-year journey, right? At best, if we're lucky, we have this 100-year map in this river of time that we're all floating down. And if you're not, I recently read a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. If you haven't read that book, it's a beautiful book. And most people, there's, I'll give you a quick synopsis or summary of it. And, a lady who, worked in hospice care and everything, spent a lot of time with people who were in their final days. And she summarized essentially 5 things that, people who were in their final days, what they would talk about and what they regretted throughout their life. And I'll leave it at that for you. I highly suggest that you read it, and it'll help give you some clarity around things. But for me, it's choices. And here in a moment, I want to reflect on what the year 2014 looked like for us. And, because there's a saying that I lean on quite a bit. What we think is what we say. What we say is what we do. And what we do is who we become. What we think is what we say is what we do, and what we do is who we become. So we have to be very mindful of what we think. And what comes into our mind is who we surround ourselves with. It's these sessions here. It's what we read, it's what we put into our minds. That's what we think about. What we think about is what we say, and what we say is what we do. What we do becomes our habits, and then that's who we become. So we have to be, if we're very specific about what we want to accomplish in the year 2025, and over the next course of the next 10 years, what we really want to accomplish, we got to be mindful of what we think and of what we say and of what we do. My good friend and mentor, Dr. Joe Currier, he said, human behavior determines business behavior. So it's behavior that determines what we accomplish. It's what our routines are. It's what our patterns are. It's what our habits are. It's literally what fills up our time decides who it is that we become. And so we have to be extremely mindful of that. So let's do a fun exercise. I'm going to do, I was playing around a little bit here with some apps. I'm going to put 5 minutes here. In the year 2014, what were you doing? 10 years ago, in the year 2014, what were you doing? What did life look like? Where were you living, working, studying? Who were you with? Maddie, 8th grade. Love it. What were your biggest dreams back then? And I'm gonna just say a bunch of different questions, and I want you to just write. Don't worry about grammar issues. Don't worry about anything. Just write whatever comes to mind. Just put it down on paper. What were your goals and dreams back then in 2014? What were the most important relationships in your life at the time? How have they changed? What choices did you make 10 years ago that brought you to where you are today? Then just keep writing. What was 2014 like? For me, I became a dad in 2014. Achieved my biggest financial goal that I ever had. Hit 100K before I turned 30 in 2014. What are you proud of from the last 10 years and what you've accomplished over this past decade? Any successes, milestones stand out to you? What challenges did you face? Adversity that was in your way that you overcame, helped become and shape you into the person you are today? What do you wish you would have done differently over the last 10 years? Were there opportunities that you missed out on? Habits you wish you would have done different? Here's a good question. If you could give yourself advice 10 years ago, what advice would you give yourself? Ten years goes by fast, doesn't it? Does it feel longer or shorter than you expected the last 10 years? Think about that. What lessons can you learn from the last 10 years to bring you forward to the next 10 years? Awesome. How was that? Let me hear from a couple of you. Not all at once. Sharon, go.
Okay, in 2014, I became broker owner of my own real estate company.
Mhm.
I was the first African American woman in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, to be a broker owner. So I worked hard. I had 10 agents. I'm not changing anything. It was a great time. And it happened. When I came, as for 10 years now, I'm doing the same thing again because I thought I retired a couple of months ago. So I'm back in the business. So I now I'm working smarter, not harder.
There you go.
So I am seeing this as a fun, having fun. Um, As for the next 10 years, I'm retiring again.
We'll get to that in a moment. We'll get to that in a moment. Patrick, let me thank you for sharing, Sharon. Patrick, let me hear from you quickly.
I was actually a correctional officer in 2014 in Milan, Michigan.
Yeah.
Just married Belinda in 2013.
Okay.
So my transition and plan was to get back to the West Coast before I retired, which I ended up doing in 2020. And in 24, I retired, but actually December of 23, I retired the 30th. And got my license in 23, April 23, and got on Jordan's team. And it's been fun ever since.
I love it. I love it.